As I wake up every morning as the CEO of SG Analytics, I always take one pledge, that I will listen to the thousands of my colleagues because they have placed a trust in me. The trust is that I will listen to the said and, more important, the unsaid communication. Every time I step on the theater stage, I'm reminded that I should bring out the character every day slightly differently, depending on the audience reaction. Some days audiences are more vibrant, some days they're slightly reserved, and I need to connect with them. You see, the spotlight is on me, the audience is sitting typically in the dark. You have to pick up the verbal and the non-verbal cues to make sure that you bring that character come alive. Also, you have to listen to your co-actors very, very intently, because if you don't respond, then every time you can find out that the audience has not got that connection with you. And you know how theater is. It's on the day, in the moment, and that's why every show is different. Let me just switch on a bit of my corporate hat and tell you that when I got into leadership position, I was tutored. I was told a leader is somebody who is typically the most vocal person in the room, who has a vision and shares it quite eloquently with his team. Also, he explains things with logic and he communicates with a lot of confidence. But it's all wrong. And the penny dropped for me not in a corporate boardroom nor in a theater stage, but actually when a disgruntled employee stormed into my office with a compensation letter in hand, which she received from the HR team post one of the appraisals, and said that I am seeking an explanation. Now, this employee was quite notorious to do very tough negotiation on compensation. And so my reaction to that was, she said explanation, I heard escalation. So then the conversation went like this. I'm telling her about market benchmark, about investor priorities, about organization profitability, and she's telling me about corporate restructure, her additional responsibility, added duties. So this, as you can imagine, the conversation went quite south. And then at some point she told me, stop, listen, I'm not seeking for any charity here. I'm asking for clarity. What are the metrics and the targets that will make me earn my bonus? What will you tell me that at the end of the year, I don't have to be at the disposition of my manager to say, I will get the money that is really rightfully due to me? And it struck me that all through that's exactly what she was saying. But I wasn't listening because I had this baggage. Let me tell you one more thing. Research has proved that every time we conduct interviews to select candidates, it's pretty much the first 90 seconds. That's when we make up our mind. The rest of the time, we're looking for data points to support that original decision, select or deselect. Consequently, what happens? We lose out on many candidates who do not actually warm up from the get-go. You, as an interviewer, would need to draw that out of that candidate. Why is it happening? Because we are looking for that confirmation bias. We are in that meeting, in that room, but we are not present. I worked for almost 30 years for various companies and managers. The best manager that I've had is the one who spoke the least. But every time I went up and talked to him, I felt listened. I felt heard, really heard. He would talk about some past data which even I have forgotten. He'll connect the dots, which I could never do. And every time, we'll come out of his room with a solution. Not necessarily it came from him, but we co-created it, and it felt like magic. But behind that magic, there was a lot of discipline. And I tried to analyze that, what is it that this manager brought to the table which no one else could? So, of course, he gave us time, he gave us space, attention. Of course, he exuded a lot of care, but he had one thing, which was stillness. He was never in a hurry to resolve your problem. And most importantly, he brought something very rare. He gave us respect. So if I summarize, and in order to hear what is not being said, you have to start with a clean slate, no baggage. You have to not just listen to the words, but also the tone, the body language, the pause. You have to exude a lot of care, have to be authentic, necessarily must have respect for the person, and no rush energy. Let the conversation flow. Let me end this session with a personal story. It's a very deep personal story, but I'm sharing it with you. It's about my father. At the age of 21, when he was doing his engineering, he began to lose his hearing. By the time I was born, he was completely deaf, and he had to operate by following a lip movement. But he finished his engineering. He also went and did his post-graduation. He honed his technical skills. For that, he traveled to Russia and Germany and spent many years there. He had to learn those languages, adapt to that culture, and finally ran a very successful business for 3 decades. But this story is not about how he overcame his challenge and how he became successful. It's about his greatest strength, which was empathy. He had this uncanny ability to understand people without hearing a single word. People confided in him, they trusted him, many made him his mentor, guide. So I just want to leave you, ladies and gentlemen, with a thought that you do not have to be the smartest person in the room to hear what is not being said. You do not even have to hear what is being said and to grasp the unsaid. You just need to be present and you need to have empathy. Thank you for hearing the said and the unsaid in this communication.